Welcome all. So today the session will be on National Building Code of India, which is launched in 2016 December. So this is a very unique code which has been used in the industry for past 25 years, and it has gone through for a very detailed revision in 2016. The detailed revision has a huge value specific to glass and glazing divisions, because there is a new section been added in part 6, which is section 8 called Glaze and Glazings. And there is some more details will be covered in the part 11, which is approach to sustainability, which glass play a very vital role. So today the agenda for the day will be under the section 8. There are a lot of details being captured respect to glass, its materials and its system and its testing methodology. We will be able to cover on specific to the glass requirements. So we will be doing something about the basic design and how the selection of glass can be done, design and selection of the frames, design and selection of the associated materials, the glazing system, testing of the different materials, both glaze and the glazing system, and how the performance testing has to be done for the glass. This is a basic content being part of the section 8 glaze and glazing division. To go precise into this section, respect to the glass, it starts with a very basic introduction to the types of glass available, which is the basic types, clear and the tinted glasses, which we call it as a base glass. So to do any value addition, you need the base glass, which is manufactured by float glass technology. So the base glass can be in the clear format, or it can be in the tinted glass format, which we mean green, blue, bronze and grey base glasses. So we manufacture this as per the float glass technology, and this will be taken for any other high performance applications. Then the same glass after coating has to go for processing. Processing we mean is how to add value to the glass on the structural side, how to improve the impact resistance of the glass from compared to the normal annealed glass to the toughened into the toughened format or to the heat strengthened format, or we can do lamination or we can do double glazing. And this code very precisely communicates about what kind of glass to be used for structural glazed application or facade or glazing in case of buildings, which we call it as safety glass. So as per the safety glass for NBC 2016, it very clearly defines a product which has to pass through the typical testing procedures, and when it pass through, then it can be labeled as safety glass. To understand in a simpler format, there are the toughened glass and the laminated glass. These are the two kinds of products which can pass the safety requirements as per NBC 2016. There are types of energy efficient glass which is used in every energy efficient buildings today, or any green buildings, or a building which has to comply energy conservation building code. So in this, there are two coating technology with any glass manufacturers will be having it. One is called the online coating technology, which we call CVD, or the chemical vapor deposition procedure, or the entire industry has moved from online, today we all produce, which is called the offline coating technology, which is called magnetron sputtering. So both this technology available in India, where you can get a different range of products, starting from the basic selectivity products to the high-end selectivity products, based on the type of the building, orientation, topography, your purpose of usage of the building. You can window wall ratio, and based on the combination of the glasses, you can select whether you want to go for an online or an offline coated glass. So this portion, section 8, which actually takes you through in detail about all this. So start from the base glass, which is a clear and tinted. Then what are the kinds of coating technology available, the online coating technology and the offline coating technology, and then it takes you to the types of processed glass available, and then in the processed glass, what we can label it as a safety glass, which is ideally the toughened glass or the laminated glasses. So to take one step further, how do we manufacture glass? So we manufacture the base glass as per the float glass technology. So in the image we can see the online coating technology cross section, where ideally I have a furnace, then I have a float bath, and then I have an annealing lihar. So the same technology during the same glass manufacturing process, I do the coating when the glass is on the line. Ideally that's why the technology itself called as online. So when I do this process, that's called an online coating technology. The detailed procedure about the online coating process will be covered separately in the manufacturing process. Similarly, the second one below, which is called offline coating technology, as the name indicates, of the line, I produce the base glass separately in my float process, then I have to store the glass separately, which is precisely going to be used for this kind of a coating, which is called magnetron sputtering. So then I will have a different chambers with a different target materials to be deposited on the surface of the glass. why we need different target material? Because there is a lot of performance to be achieved, whether it can be light transmission, solar factor, U value, or the external reflection or the internal reflection. So I have to play with the 5 different parameters. So we select different materials which can play with the different performance of the glass. So this is called offline coating technology. So again, in detail about the precise temperatures and the conditions of the chamber, the technology began, we will be covering in the manufacturing procedure. So as per NBC 2016, it is very clear, it's suggesting a very simple methodology how to select glass for any building. So it says we have to select the glass for thickness, which has to be calculated or subjected to the actual wind load as per the new IS 875, which has different parameters to calculate based on the type of the building, height of the building, or the location of the building, or even we have added a new parameter to consider the local wind impacts. So once you calculate the IS 875 wind speed, we have to now calculate the glass thickness requirement for the concerned glass combination or for the panel size that has been selected or identified. Once this has been done, then the same has to be checked whether the glass is a safety glass which can withstand the human impact, because the glass, the facade, which is 99% of the project, which is accessible for the end user to touch or feel the glass. So when there is an access to touch the glass, then ideally it has to be a safety glass which has to withstand a higher impact resistance. So based on the kind of a location, what kind of product has to be used and what kind of test it has to pass through, that's been very clearly noticed or it been identified in your NBC 2016. Then the third parameter is how do I can make the glass more energy efficient? What are the key parameters in the glass to select or to make the building more energy efficient? So 3 basic performance drivers are visual light transmission, solar factor, and U value. So in depth there is a proper definition for this being given in the NBC. To brief you, visual light transmission is the percentage of light transmission happens through the glass from outside environment to inside environment or from the source to inside the building. When I say solar factor, it is a percentage of direct heat transfer happens from outside environment to inside environment. So India as a country, we have higher amount of heat and light, so there is a tendency of light transferring through the glass. Similarly, there is a possibility of direct heat transmission happens into the building. U value, which is the third important parameter, which is ideally the heat transformation happens between 2 difference in climatic condition. Say for my today the outside environmental conditions are above 40, my inside set temperatures are below 25. So there is a difference of 15 degrees which is called the delta T. So there is a possibility of heat transfer from higher temperature to a lower temperature. So the parameter which defined in the glass to understand this phenomena is called U value. So visual light transmission, solar factor, U value. These are 3 important parameters that anybody has to be very clear on the understanding of these parameters to select a glass for a building. To take you through an example, normal clear glass, which is 6 mm thick float clear glass, which will be having a higher light transmission, which is at 89%, solar factor which is 0.83 to 85, which is 83% to 85% of the heat will be coming into your building, U value which is 5.7, which is the property of the material. So I'll take you through what is ideal value that you should be able to select it for your buildings in the session, towards the session.